We're back with another video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a trade we took on the British pound and the Australian dollar. This is a trade that we actually executed last week, but we are still in the trade. So we have been holding this trade for a couple of days now. Right, so I'm going to be breaking down this pair from the higher time frame, but right now, with this markup that I have right here, I will be looking at the 1 hour time frame. Right, so just by looking at the simple structure that we have right here on this chart, as we can see from this area right here, this market has been moving up. Right, so we've been seeing consecutive higher highs and higher lows. Right, so as you can see, this higher low, from this higher low right here, we had market push up into a supply zone, which I will break down as we go, right, when we are looking at this from the higher time frame. All right, so from this higher low right here, we had price push up, giving us this higher high, right, this high high right here. And as you can see, as market was making its way up, market created this zone right here. All right, so as you can see, this was a very interesting zone because we had, market react a lot on that demand area. Right, so what we identified was, as price made this high into a supply zone, right, price failed to give us a new higher high, but instead what price did is, from this area, right, price gave us a lower low, meaning from a higher move, or rather an up phase that we identified here, we had a break of structure, right, from this area right here. And one thing about this area is, remember, once price starts, getting into or tapping into a zone, be it a supply zone or demand zone, a couple of times, this area becomes weak, right, because all the orders keep getting filled at that certain area, right? So from this area, we had this move right here, which was the move which broke structure. So as we are looking at this, we are no longer interested in buys, right, because of that change of structure. Right, so from this area, as you can see, after this area, from this demand zone, which kept getting hit multiple times, we finally had that break of structure, giving us this lower low. Right, so from this area, as you can see, price made its way back to these highs, right? And one thing that we actually look for in our strategy is something like this. Whenever we can identify 3 hits to the high or 3 hits to the low, right, this basically tells us that a reversal is imminent. Right, so when I got to my terminal, this is what I saw, and I was actually this was the the projection, and I wanted price to come back down to this demand area. Right, so as you can see from this area, this is where we actually executed this trade, and our stop loss was just above these highs, right, just above these highs right here. Okay, so as you can see, this is what happened. So this trade is currently in profit right now, as we are still holding it. We didn't have much of drawdown on this trade. As you can see, it got straight into profit, right? So to actually support the structure here, or what we said about the structure, is from this demand area, right, and us having this lower low, right, and a move back to the high, validating that 3 hits to the high, also giving us another information right here. Right, so for my BTMM traders, you know what we look for when we see these M's and W's, right? If you don't have an idea on that, you can actually go watch our previous videos so you can understand what we mean and how we trade these M's and W's, right? So as you can see, this trade moved into profit, and as this trade is moving into profit, right, we had this high low right here that was here, right, if you look at the overall structure. But how I'm looking at this is, right, when price pushed down, we had a lower low, right? So from this area is our area of execution, right, price moved down and broke this structure as well. So this validates our overall bias of this selling. Right, so if we actually go look at at this from the higher time frame, this is what we have. Looking at it from the weekly time frame, remember, we basically look to sell at the supply zone. So if there is a supply zone which has been created and price moves away from it, right, this becomes a sell zone for us, right? Meaning if price then makes its way back up, right, to that area, we'll look for opportunities to execute, right? So in this case, this is basically what we had, right? So looking at it from the weekly time frame, we can see that price made its way back to a supply zone, right? So price pushed up, as you can see, right, and then made a move down all the way down here, and then this was actually price back to this supply zone. So we were looking for sales. So that explains the bias that we had, what I just showed you right now on GBP AUD, but from the H1 time frame, right? So if we look at this from the weekly time frame and go down to the smaller time frames, right? If we go to the daily, this is what we could see, because remember price had tapped in that supply zone, right? So that is the reason why we were looking to sell. All right, so looking at this, if we go to lower time frame, so that you can get a better picture of this, what we can actually see here is this, right? Remember we spoke about the 3 hits to the high, which happened here, right? So the location of where you look for these things is very important, right? You just don't look for these 3 hits to the high on any pair or anywhere in the chart, right? We look for this at our supply or demand zones, right? So if we go to the H1 time frame, this is what we can see, right? So this trade has actually moved into profit. Remember, our entry was right here. If we can actually go to our MT5, because we have this trade still running, there we go, right? So we executed our trade right here, didn't really have much of drawdown, and currently this trade is running over 150 pips, right? And our main target is this area right here. Remember, from this markup, that has been the zone where we wanted to see price go to. So as you can see, currently price is moving in that direction right now, and if you look at it from the daily time frame, it will make more sense, as this area right here would actually come through as a flip area. As you can see, this was at some point, right, a supply zone. Price broke, right? So if price comes back to this area, that area might act as demand, so we will definitely get some reaction on that zone. Right, so this is what we have on this one, still holding this trade. What we can actually do right here, because we have taken some partials on this trade last week on Friday, as this was also a trade which I actually sent in our VIP signal channel. Right, let me just show you. Yeah, right there, right? So as you can see, from last week, we were actually, this was the signal that we gave out right here. Right, so we have been holding this trade, and we actually closed some trades on AUD. As you can see, we actually added on some trades because I took the trade right here, right, and more trades right here to maximize profits, right? So we did close some trades, and remember what I said, I did let the VIP team know that we can leave a runner, as we might look to swing this next week as well. So that is exactly what we are doing right now. We are still in the trade, and we would like to see this trade move all the way down. So what we can do right here is we can move our stop loss just below, right? I'll do that. It's easier if I do this from the phone. All right, guys, so basically this is what this is the reasoning behind taking this trade on GBP AUD. So we will see how this trade actually plays out, and if it reaches our target. But this is now a stress-free trade, as we've already secured some profits on this, right? So what we can do, remember, I want to move this stop loss, right, to somewhere just above the highs, right, like that, right, something like that, because this will now make it easy to trail this, right? Remember, we just keep moving the stop loss just above the high or low, so that if price decides to turn on us, it can take us out with profit. But yeah, still looking good so far. Actually, currently right now, that actually looks like a very good points of entry to add on, but I will, I'll let the market do its thing on this pair as we are looking for more opportunities in the market, right? So I will keep an eye on that and see how that goes as the week unfolds. So we're also trading USDR, as you can see, but we also closed that last week. As you can see, close USD. This was on Friday, 14th of March. All right, we actually closed this. As you can see, our entry, if I can zoom in, our entry was right there at this area, and we, it was a nice drop on that Friday. So we did close, and we also left some runners. But today we gave this signal on USDR. As you can see, another sell opportunity, because right here you can identify from this area that this is a peak formation, a day of drop, right? So love to see another push down. So we sent a signal on that, and that is the trade that we are currently waiting on right now. As you can see, that's our entry, our stop just above that area, and we want to see this push down all the way to this 800 EMA, where there is also a demand area. So this trade is currently in profit right now, but it hasn't really moved. But I love what I'm seeing here because this validates the bias, right? This validates the bias. So, if I was actually looking to maximize on this, I was going to actually add another trade right at that point, but I'll let this run and see how that goes. I also took this trade in a funded challenge, right, with funded next. If you'd love to purchase a funded account, do that with the link in the description below, and also use my coupon code for more benefits. I will be explaining this in the coming videos to come. All right, guys, if you are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, leave a comment or like, and share with your friends. Cheers.